The future is bright. In fact, the future is Connor McBride. In fact, the youngster has been included in Tony Mowbray's squad to take on Watford this midweek. But will he have a chance to showcase his skills? We'll take a little look next. Preview this time, looking forward to Blackburn Rovers taking on Watford at Ewood Park, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, I am asking you, where the heck have you been, boys? Smash your subscribe to get you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers latest Championship related. Whoa, football here. Under Watruski, that's right. Goodness gracious me. Youngsters extraordinaire getting included in Mowbray's squad to take on the Hornets at Ewood Park. But will they get any chance to showcase their skills and talents this midweek? I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. And of course, we'll have exclusive Roverseas content watch along, of course, midweek. So make sure you come by for that, Badger, of course. But anyway, before we get into deep end, I want a big shout out, of course, to the Patreons. You know bloody who you are, the fantastic Patreons supporting the bloody channel behind the scenes. Let's talk about them. Of course, because I want to show you what I'm talking about. If I can find my bloody mouse, there it is. What am I talking about? I'll show you what I'm talking about right here, right now. Let's jump into it. It is, of course, the Patreon page. You can go over here, put your madness, your faith behind this guy, joining at any one of these levels, if not in between. There are 25 of them right here, right now. So big shout out, of course, to Alan MC. I said, you know me. I said, Alan MC. And, of course, Tom Beresford coming back into the fold, of course, from a little bit of an absence. So do appreciate you returning, and I do appreciate all 25 of the Patreon support as we try to put this channel or this platform up to another bloody level over the next 12 to 18 months. But anyway, I do appreciate the guy. If you are interested, there is a link down below in the description and on the screen, and it's also up here. It's bloody everywhere. It's bloody everywhere. So let's get in the deep end then, shall we? Of course, take a look at the match itself, and it will be this Wednesday. Of course, Rovers taking, of course, Watford down at Ewood bloody Park. Of course, it will be the 30th time that these two sides have played each other. How often have Rovers won? I'll tell you that stat in a little bit. But of course, let's take a look at the season as it's played out right here, right now. Of course, Watford have played an extra game than us. 31 this season. We have played 30. There's not many left. We're into the teens now, boys. We're into the teens. Of course, we used to have on average 2 goals per game, but it's now down to 1 because it's all gone dry. Of course, maybe that is the likes of Connor McBride being included into the fold, and maybe he can provide a bit of spark because he's scoring them for fun out in the old the academy. So we'll see if he gets some minutes. Of course, Rovers still on average 14 shots per game compared to Watford's 11. They've also picked up around about 2 yellow cards a game compared to our 1. Also more corners for them. They also like to throw more fouls around. And again, the other stats are in Rovers' favour, but guess what? The stats mean nothing. 54% error success rate for Rovers, 47 for Watford, 55% possession compared to their 51. 78% pass success rate, so same for them. But guess what? They are much better off in the table than we are. You can have all of these positives, all of these perks, but guess what? Watford have more often put the ball in the back of the net. That's right. Well, that might not be necessarily true. They've won more games than us. Basically, that's the stat you really got to think about. Let's take a look at, of course, the home versus away stats here. Again, we've played 14 home games. They played 15. Stats are much more richer for Rovers here. Of course, still averaging about 2 goals per match at Ewood Park compared to their 1 on the road. Again, 13 shots to their 10. Other key figures there, of course, possession, error success rate, and pass success rate also favour Rovers when they're playing at Ewood compared to Watford's on the road stats. Take a look at, of course, the goals then, shall we? I believe here they come 43 for Rovers, 40 for Watford, just 3 adrift. We scored 30 through open play. They scored 22 from open play. 7 set pieces for them, just 3 for us. 6 counter-attacks, just 1 for them. 9 penalties Watford have got this season, just 4 for us, and 1 big fat OG. And again, down here, 14.1 shots per game for Rovers, and around 1.4 goals as well. We need a result. We need a performance. I was hoping the performance was going to come last weekend against Forest, but and the match before that against Barnsley, and the match before that against QPR, and the match before that against Preston. But guess what? It hasn't materialised. All the logic, all the sense would suggest 5 defeats in a row would be catastrophic for any manager, especially in the Championship. Any manager that has any desire or any realism in themselves to think, you know what, we should be in top 6, but if we lose 5 in the spin, realistically, something's not working right. So, but anyway, that we can talk all about that on Watch Long Day. But hopefully, Rovers can get the win and, of course, turn the chains and move the ball, move the machine in the right direction, because we're kind of trying to turn the season back on track, but it's it's like pivoting a tank at the moment. It's hard as nails. Of course, we've conceded 34 goals this season compared to their 21, 22 through open play, 13 for them, 8 set pieces for us, 5 for them. Of course, 2 penalties we've conceded. They've just got the 1 and 1, 2 on goals for them, one for us as well. And again, down in shots per game conceded and all that kind of stuff. Kicking on further then, shall we, of course, take a little look at the game itself, or the possession stats. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Of course, Rovers, we need to get this back up to where it was at the start of the season. Of course, we're seeing more often for the ball for Rovers back in the defensive third, which is pretty boring. It is pretty similar though to that of Watford, but I guess what, they're just converting it more precisely than us. We keep the ball 41% of the time within the middle third. So all this going backwards, 71% of our possession, realistically, if you look at it that way, is going backwards. It's going backwards, whereas 69% you could consider is going forward, but not really. It is predominantly being held back here. Backwards, sideways, a lot of possession, but little cutthroat at the end of it. As for Watford, similar stats here. Look at this, clone cursor. Wow, 31% is in their own third, 28% within the opposition third, 42. It's very, very much similar. But for whatever reason, there's a good, maybe I don't know how many positions, different 10 points, 10 positions better off than we are. Of course, let's take a look at where we're coming down with our attacking avenues. 38% of all of our attacking avenues coming down the left, 37% down the right, 25% down the middle. Again, very, very similar to that of Watford, but guess what? They're much higher than us in the table. Of course, kicking on further, where do we have our shots? 59% of all our shots within the 18-yard box, 4% in the 6-yard box, and 37% in the outside of the long-range bad boys. As for Watford, 9% of their shots are in the 6-yard area, 55% within the 18-yard box, and 36 long-range son of a guns. And then finally, of course, where we're taking our shots, 63% down the middle, 20% down the left, and 16% down the right. As for Watford, 13 down the right, 15 down the left, and 73% down the middle. Of course, the game will take place right here at the Garden of Eden, of course, is E. Wood Bloody Park. And I gave you that stat at the top of the shop there. We played each other 29 times. Rovers winning 11 of them, of course, Watford winning 12. There's been 6 draws. And again, Mowbray's record against Watford is okay. It's actually pretty positive. He's managed against them 8 times in his career, not necessarily at Rovers, but with everybody. And he's won 4 of them, lost 3 of them, and drawn 1. Let's take a look at, of course, some of those numbers. Of course, since 2011, we actually played each other 11 times. They've won 5 of them. We've won 4 of them. We've been 2 draws. Our biggest win over Watford is a 3-1 win. Their biggest win over us was a 4-0 win. And in total, they've scored 20 goals in those 11 matches. We've scored 16. And again, they've got a nice average of 1.82 goals against Rovers in those 11 matches. And we've got 1.45 as well heading into this. I'm looking at, we're coming into this in 12th. They're in 3rd. Yeah, we've not lost to Watford in the last 4 encounters. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Of course, let's take a look at the goal scoring stats, of course, and some of the key numbers here. Of course, Watford coming at you with 20-goal hero Adam Armstrong, 4-goal hero Sam Gallagher will probably not feature. He had a punctured lung, apparently, or an injury similar to that. And Elliot's got 4 goals, and Johnson's got 3. We need other people chipping in with some goals. And we need to really get the best of Bradley Dack, if we're completely honest with you. As for the discipline, Johnson's got 6 yellows, Leonard's got 6, Douglas and Rothwell have 4. Leonard's got himself the one and only red card. As for Watford, João Pedro's the key man then with 8 goals. Deeney's got himself 7 already. Sarr and Cleverly also up there with goals as well. Chavala's got himself 9 yellows. Francesco Stiralta also has got 6. Cleverly 5, and Sarr's got 4, and Parenka's the only guy with a red card to boot. Let's kick it on further then. Of course, let's take a look at some of the players that will be missing this game. Holtby is out, Daniel Ayala's out, Scotty Wharton's out, Joe Rankin-Castell's out, Bradley Johnson is out. I believe Bradley Johnson would be in this team, and you could even argue that Daniel Ayala would also be in this team as well, or even Scotty Wharton, to be fair. So these are key personnel. As for Watford, of course, Troy Deeney's out. That's good to see for me. Ben Foster, of course, key man between the sticks as well, also out. But there are some other rumours going around that some of the key players for Rovers will be out, but regardless of that, this is my starting 11 that I've gone with. Again, I'm going to break it down. I've opted for the 4-2-3-1 here, which really should bring out the best of Bradley Dack. Now, I think we should be, when everybody's fit and the personnel that we have on the books, we should have Dack in this role right here. Should have Armstrong here, maybe Gallagher, if he can improve his hold-up play up top here, alongside maybe an Elliott or a Dolan. Maybe a Dolan might be a bit of a stretch at the moment, to be honest with you. But I would have that quartet up there. But because Gallagher is out, Brereton could lead the line, but you can't really. What I did notice this past week is the key ingredients to our goals is the Elliot Armstrong and the Elliot Rothwell factor. Elliot's provided 9 assists so far this season, and these two guys have been on the receiving ends for the majority of his assists. Of course, if we put Bradley Dack in his key role, we should be hopefully get to see the best out of him operating up and down the field. Of course, he likes to track back occasionally, but I did see him last time around the past couple of games at right back, or in the right back spot, and I'm clueless to why he would be down there. So we need to get Dak in his best role. 4-3-3, it does not suit his style. We need to play in a 4-2-3-1, which was, of course, led to his great success. And there is no harm in moving Adam Armstrong to the wing if we had a more of a dynamic forward to lead the line. Of course, I've gone with Kaminsky between sticks, Douglas, Branthwaite, and I think Lenihan, if he's fit and raring to go. Of course, there's rumours that there might have been some disagreements in the house that led to his exclusion last time around. Of course, Nyambi as well also might not be making it. So if these two guys don't make it, the questions are, do you put Harwood Bellis in at centre back here, and then maybe Elliot Bennett at right back? That's probably avenues to explore. Evans did get some minutes a couple games back, but I don't know why he didn't play last time around. I've gone with Travis, the youngster, the snappiness of him, and of course the experience of Evans in that 4-2-3-1. Dak, Rothwell, of course, goals, dynamoism, he's explosive at times. Of course, when you look at some of the opposition, their attacking players, we need to have our own threats, and that is a major threat for me is Rothwell. Elliot, of course, no question, one of the better players this season. Of course, Armstrong scoring goals. As for Watford, of course, they've got a young, inexperienced keeper. I don't know if he's how inexperienced he is, but his name's Bachman. Not Batman, but it's Bachman. You've got Massina at the back, of course, Cathot, Trost, Ekong, and Firmina, and you make up your back four. Cleverly, Hughes, Chabala makes a very, very core English midfield there with Sema on the left, or Sema, Assar, of course, once linked with United and more, and youngster Joao Pedro, who is probably one of the better players in the Championship. Even despite the lack of goals compared to like Tony and Armstrong, he is, of course, a very, very exciting prospect for the future for Watford. That's what I've gone with for both of these two sides. Again, Rovers team might not be nothing like this, but that's just what I would pick if the likes of Lenihan and Nyambi get the green light. Kicking off further, let's take a look at how we all enter this game. Of course, Rovers on the back of 4 defeats in a row. Looking to make it 5, it looks like, with a very, very difficult Watford in hand. So 4 defeats, including Forest, Barnsley, Preston, of course, QP, bloody hell, against teams that realistically I thought we would win. I thought we would go through this, and I'm sorry for being Mr. Positive Pants back in the day, but I thought this was nailed on. I thought we would go through this. We might draw a couple of the games, but I thought we would at least win 2 of them heading through this. Of course, Watford on the flip side looking much, much better than us, winning 1, 2, 3, 3 on the spin, of course. A couple of little hiccups, though, during the commentary, of course, losing to QPR, so not too far away. Again, I'm not the biggest believer in Watford. I think they'll be within the playoffs at the end of the season, but I'm not convinced that they got the automatics or the application to get up automatically. Of course, Rovers heading into this, just 1 win in the past 5 games at home. That 1 win was against Luton, and it was a shit performance. I can tell you that now. As for Watford, their away form is pretty good. I'm beating the last 4 games, picking up 2 wins and 2 draws to boot. Of course, beating Stoke, beating Preston, but drawing against Millwall and Coventry. But they also lost to Swansea not too long ago. Of course, the form table, we're looking at the away form here. I don't know why we're coming at you at random order. But of course, Watford's away at form is in 14th spot at the moment, picking up 8 points out of a possible 18. Rovers down 16th, but we're not looking at that really. As for the home form, that's Rovers. We're looking at they're down to 16th, just picking up 8 points as well out of a possible 18. But the overall the home and away form combined, Rovers are down there in 17th, one of the worst form teams at the moment, alongside Bristol City. You put even the likes of Brentford are not too far away from that kind of form as well, as are Sheffield Wednesday. But we need a win to change up the mentality. As for Watford, they are flying high in 6th at the moment, the 6th best team in the division at the moment. Alongside, look at Cardiff running away with it at the moment, as are QPR and Millwall as well, doing very, very well. Of course, the recent encounters between Watford and Rovers, of course, look like this. Just 1 win for Rovers, 3 for Watford, and 2 draws last round in, of course, Vicarage Road. This season was a 3-1 win for Watford. Pedro Cleverly and the big fat OG from Darrell Lennon. Ben Brereton got the goal for Rovers. Of course, last time around at Ewood, it was a 2-2 draw back in September 2014. Gusted and Tunnicliffe on the score sheet. Of course, Vidra and Closer on the score sheet as well for Watford, of course, which was a bit of a good era for Rovers, going 3 games unbeaten against them. But of course, the recent matches over at Ewood is a bit more fruitful. In fact, we've got to go back to 2000 for Watford's last victory over Rovers in a 7-goal thriller. Micah Hyde, I believe, Helgeson, Tommy Mooney, I'm guessing. Nathan Blake, of course, with a couple of goals there. And, of course, David Dunn, of course, one of the born and bred boys scoring for us. But, of course, we lost that game. But, again, that was 21 years ago. But since then, we've been quite good against Watford at home. Of course, we drew last round. We talked about that. Then we have a couple of back-to-back 1-0 wins over Watford in the Championship. Jordan Rose with a couple of goals there. Of course, we also beat them in the Premier League with the likes of Benny McCarthy, Samba Roberts as well, with Douglas Rinaldi on the score sheet for Watford. Of course, this is the journey so far for both Rovers and Watford. Of course, Watford are represented by the hollow circle. As Rovers, we are, of course, the big, fat, solid circle. And again, it's been a bit of a dip since match day number 28. We've kind of peaked around about match day 27, but since then we've kind of stagnated and we've even gone bad, like a rotten fish. We need to sort that out. It kind of steady-deadied at 12, but we need to start climbing if we really want to end the season. I know I'm not even talking about top 6, but if we want to just end the season positively, and I think what's left for Moby to take away from this is to better last season's points, better last season's table ranking, and see what we can do about it. And you know, because I didn't, as much as I believe that we could have got top 6, you know, and in the root of all my mentality, I still think there is a little glimmer of hope that we could make top 6. I didn't ever suggest that we would get promoted. I thought if we could just get to playoffs and experience that playoff run, it would be a good mentality or motivational boost for next season to maybe kick on and even go even beyond that. But of course, right here, right now, it does not look like that's even something we could talk about. Heading out of this game, of course, Rovers will take on Coventry again, back-to-back home games. Of course, Watford and then Coventry. Then it's Reading, difficult game on midweek next week. Of course, then Millwall, 2 tricky away games. Then Swansea, there's that game that was postponed, in Brentford as well, and a very, very bad sort of 6-4 games run here. Which, if you know what, if we can come out of this Watford game with something and Coventry, and then pick up points against these teams, which I subsequently or imagine that we would lose against, then you never know. It might steady itself out. You just don't know. Football's a funny old thing, but we need a change of belief, and right now it's not a positive atmosphere. As for Watford, they take on Bournemouth this weekend. Then it's Wickham, of course, at home, nailed on home when you think on that one, and of course Nottingham Forest as well, tricky one. Then it's Cardiff and Rotherham as well to kick into the month of March. The table looks like this. When I say the table, I mean both home and away form. Of course, Rovers home form, we've lost we lost 4 games out of the possible 14. Of course, Watford's away form, they've actually won 4 and actually lost 4 as well heading into this badger. But of course, that's just a little bit what I think about this match. What about the guys on social media? Well, we're going to take a little look at it right here, right now. If you hop over to the brfcs.com forum, you can see a whole bunch of guys. They're often vocal, often depressed, but it's okay. It's the nature of the beast. We're going to kick it all off with we're not going to start there. We're going to start around about Hoochie Baluchi Mama. I always remember Watford coming to Ewood under Graham Taylor in the late 70s and 80s. The days of Nigel Callaghan and possibly John Barnes. I remember them being very good. That's it. He's gone with the 2-1 win for Watford. Frosty says in 15 away games, Watford have scored only 8 but conceded 9 with toothless. With how toothless we've been in front of Goal Lady, if we go a goal down, I'll probably be game over. I was going to say it's embarrassing that we've nothing to play for in February, but being 3 points above 18th and 5 from 20th, how has it come to this? It's a bit too close to the drop zone if we carry on this run of form. 0-0 or 1-0, then we'll probably beat Coventry at the weekend, which Mowbray will live on for a while. Tom Phil said, how many times have we said this season? This is just the type of game we will win, and there's been a bit of unrest aimed the boss's way. Well, it hasn't happened much. However, Rovers 3, Watford 1, Mowbray, Waggett and Venus so cocksure after the win. They done the hard hats and high-vis Brockle the following morning. Start making outhouse plots, marking out house plots, whatever. Of course, there's the stuff about the training facility and all that kind of stuff to talk about, but we're not going to go there. Kicking off further down here, there's a song going on there. You can see all that for yourself. We'll go to Richard Oakley here. Bristol City sacked their manager after a 6-0 drubbing by Watford. If we go there, if we're going to get beaten, it may as well result in something positive by losing to the same margin. Where's the positivity in that? Watford don't score too many goals away. It's got the feel of a game. Mowbray will try to play for a draw anyway and try to nick one. Mowbray will just look to the win with possession battle and dominate the ball. I've still no idea what dominate the ball means. If any other commentator knows, please let me know. I don't know how Davenport starts ahead of Rothwell. I'm half convinced Mowbray will play a 3-4-1-2 with Johnson thrown right in as back of the park 3. But play more as a sweeper. I don't make sense of Dak to play hand-holding with 2 centre-back low knees. I think that if Bennett plays, we'll concede as usual. Will depend on whether Armstrong is wearing shooting boots or not. What about Simon Garner's 1-4? I think we're going to hammer them 4-0. the Tomo roller coaster will come to a halt and begin its ascent. The anticipation is simply mouth-watering. Mark my words, Padawan. The Mowbray flag will fly once again. Well, that's a little bit of, I don't know if there's sarcasm laden in that post, but it's a positive sort of vibe. Another frustrating night of getting near to the box and not quite in it, or the opposition scoring with the first real attack, of balls falling to the wrong man on the edge of the box, etc., etc. Ad infinitum. He's gone with a 2-0 win. That's the mighty Chafinch. What we'll end it with: Fraser Kirkby's gone with a Kaminsky, Harwood, Leatherhead, Branthwaite, Douglas back 4, Travis, Tavenport, Rothwell, Elliott, Armstrong, Brereton up top. Seeing as we aren't going anywhere, it's important to get our younger players who are here next year some starting. And Buckland Down especially, maybe not the game. I need Pike and McBride on the bench too, not for Nyambi and Gallagher, of course. Yes, indeed. We talked about McBride coming in, which would be absolutely fantastic. Of course, that's what they have to say. What about the Digicast? Well, here she is with her own pick. Come at ya, Digi, show me what you're all about. Kicking on further, then of course they can look at the championship as a whole, of course the possession stats and all that kind of good stuff, where Rovers are raising high in a lot of these, but guess what, it means nothing. We're 4th in the possession charts. That's the most aggressive. That's still Stoke. Where else? Anything for Watford on here? Don't think so. Of course, Aero Jules and Rovers are up there in 3rd as well on that one, and we're also 2nd. Shots per game. Kicking on further though, of course, to take a look at the table as it stands. That's what really matters. Watford are on level on points with, of course, Brentford, and of course a positive win for them this week. I guess Rovers could see them into the top 2. I believe it's a 4-horse race for those top 2, and I'm probably still hedging my bets on a Norwich Swansea to get it. Swansea do have a couple of games in hand. As for the top 6, I think Watford, Swansea will be in with 2 of those 4 teams, or Brentford and Watford, should I say? I still think Reading and Bournemouth will trail out of this, which will lead to the likes of Cardiff, Middlesbrough, and the chasing pack to try and get up into that. Of course, it is doom and gloom for Rovers right here right now. But let's just look at the bare bones here. It is 11 men against 11. If we were to, I'm trying to spin this one positive way around. Of course, we have a game in hand. If we win that, I know it's Swansea, but if we win it, that puts us on to 42 points, I believe. And if we win this one, it puts us on to 45 points. And guess what? Then we're up to 4 points off of the top 6 if Bournemouth lose. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts and maybes. But again, it can all happen. It can happen. It's not like if we beat Watford 25-0, it's not something that's a little bit too far-fetched. It's something that could be achieved. But at this moment, these 4 look like it could be a 5. That's what the thing that we need to stop at the moment. Whether it is a big, fat, ugly goal that gets us the win, I will scream and celebrate it like it's the World Cup winning goal. But just to stop the bloody rot. Move the bloody chains, indeed. Because a defeat could send us, depending on what goes on elsewhere, all the way down to 18th. Yes, indeed. Of course, take a look at what else is going on in the championship. Of course, today, I am recording this on Tuesday. Derby against Huddersfield. Of course, we want, I don't know, maybe a draw on that one. Middlesbrough against Bristol City. I think I would take a Bristol City result on that one to stop Middlesbrough moving forward. Birmingham against Norwich, of course, not really focused about Norwich. I think they're too far gone. Rotherham against Forest, again, they're climbing the table, as are Rotherham, but or Rotherham not really, but again, maybe a draw on that one for me. Love Luton Town to beat Millwall, stop them bloody moving the chains. Of course, Wickham to do an absolute fantastic result against Reading would be fabulous. Into Wednesday's games, of course, Brentford against Sheffield Wednesday, not really fussed about that. Swansea against Coventry, can't really be bothered about that. Barnsley against Stoke, maybe a draw would be great for us. Preston against QPR, I don't know, well, that can go either way. And Bournemouth against Cardiff, again, a win for Cardiff would slow the rot, or slow the Bournemouth moving forward. Kicking on forward as well, let's take a look at, of course, the top goal scorers charts right here. Aaron Tony is your man, 5 goals clear of Adam Armstrong, who's got 2 goals clear of Lucas Chow. Pookie's up there as well. More Powell, of course, bloody hell, look at him. Solanke, Woodrow, Bowenda, and Stanislas is up there. As for the most assists, Tiny, Bowenda, Elliott, and Ulisse up there with 9. Wilson's got himself 8, indeed. But that's what I think will happen this week, of course, and we'll do it all again for Coventry. And again, if you didn't catch it, I will be doing a watch along for this one, so make sure you come by and say hello. I'll bring the beers. No, you bring the beers. I'll bring the tears. That's right. Of course, as Rovers try to turn this around from 4 games losing run to, of course, starting a brand new winning run against Watford, of course. But anyway, we'll talk all about that, of course, later. Until then, be sure to give the video some love and smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. We'll do it all again very, very soon. But until then, I'll see you all very soon. Check out the links down below, and I'm out for now.